The Constitution of India, Preamble. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution.
Hi children, welcome back. I hope you all have got the tentative final examination timetable. There are only 2 months left for your final examination. It is high time that you all start preparation for this final test. I request you all to bear this fact in your mind and start working hard. In today's class, we will move on to the next lesson, India after independence. Look at the observation of Rabindranath Tagore given in your textbook. What did he indicate by these lines? The British have to put an end to their rule in India. They would leave behind a miserable country. Such an India has been directly challenged by the partition-driven refugee flows. We have already discussed how centuries-old British rule shattered India socially, culturally and economically. The flow of refugees was the major challenge that the post-independent India had to face. നമുക്കറിയാം സ്വാതന്ത്ര്യം കിട്ടിയ സന്തോഷത്തിലായിരുന്നില്ല ഇന്ത്യൻ ജനത. ഇന്ത്യയെന്നും പാകിസ്ഥാനും എന്നുള്ള 2 രാജ്യങ്ങളായി വിഭജിക്കപ്പെട്ടപ്പോൾ അതുവരെ താമസിച്ചിരുന്ന വീടും വസ്തുക്കളുമെല്ലാം നഷ്ടപ്പെട്ട് അഭയാർത്ഥികളാകേണ്ടി വന്നു ഇന്ത്യയിലെ ഒരു വിഭാഗം ജനങ്ങൾ. Let us discuss in detail the flow of refugees. Look at the pictures given in your textbook. The pictures portray the refugees traveling with their families and belongings seeking shelters. This was a common sight in India during the time of partition. During that time, there was an influx of refugees from India to Pakistan and Pakistan to India. Along with this, communal riots broke out in various places. In Calcutta, Bihar, Navkhali, Delhi, Punjab and Kashmir witnessed bloody riots. Communal riots led to the influx of refugees and the martyrdom of Gandhiji. Due to communal riots, thousands were attacked. Different section of people lost all their belongings and became refugees. Around 10 million people traveled as refugees on foot, trains and bullock carts. But the rehabilitation efforts and affirmative actions of the government solved these problems. സ്വാതന്ത്ര്യം കിട്ടിയ ഇന്ത്യയിലെ ഒരു പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട കാഴ്ചയായിരുന്നു, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇന്ത്യൻ ഗവൺമെൻറ് നേരിട്ട പ്രധാന പ്രശ്നമായിരുന്നു ഈ അഭയാർത്ഥികളെ പുനരധിവസിപ്പിക്കുക എന്നുള്ളത്. ജനങ്ങൾ അവരുടെ എല്ലാ വസ്തുക്കളും നഷ്ടപ്പെട്ട് കാളവണ്ടികളിലും ട്രെയിനിലും നടന്നും മറ്റു പ്രദേശങ്ങളിലേക്ക് കുടിയേറി പാർക്കാനുള്ള ശ്രമത്തിലായിരുന്നു. അതായിരുന്നു ഇന്ത്യയുടെ ആ സമയത്തുള്ള കോമൺ സൈറ്റ്. വാട്ട് ഡു യു സീ ഇൻ ദ സ്ക്രീൻ ഈസ് ദ മാപ്പ് ഓഫ് കേരള ബിഫോർ കേരള വാസ് ഫോംഡ്. വാട്ട് ഡിഡ് യു അണ്ടർസ്റ്റാൻഡ് ഫ്രം ദിസ്? ഇതുപോലെയുള്ള നാട്ടുരാജ്യങ്ങളായിരുന്നു അന്ന് ഇന്ത്യയിൽ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നത്. ഇപ്പോൾ കേരളം ഉൾപ്പെട്ടിരുന്ന പ്രദേശത്തെ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട നാട്ടുരാജ്യങ്ങളായിരുന്നു തിരുവിതാംകൂർ, കൊച്ചി ആൻഡ് മലബാർ. Let us discuss in detail. There were around 600 princely states in the pre-independent India. Britain gave this princely state the option to join either India or Pakistan or to be independent. Integration of these princely states into the Indian Union was the another challenge before the new nation. അഭയാർത്ഥികളുടെ പ്രശ്നങ്ങൾ മാത്രമല്ല, ഈ നാട്ടുരാജ്യങ്ങൾ 600ഓളം നാട്ടുരാജ്യങ്ങളായിട്ടായിരുന്നു ഇന്ത്യയിൽ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നത്. ഈ നാട്ടുരാജ്യങ്ങളിലെല്ലാം രാജാക്കന്മാരുടെ ഭരണമായിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ ആ ഭരണം അവസാനിപ്പിച്ച് ഈ നാട്ടുരാജ്യങ്ങളെ ഇന്ത്യൻ ഗവൺമെൻറ്റിനോട് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇന്ത്യൻ യൂണിയനിലേക്ക് കൂട്ടിച്ചേർക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതായിരുന്നു ഇന്ത്യ ഗവൺമെൻറ് നേരിട്ട അടുത്ത വെല്ലുവിളി. The integration was really a Herculean task, and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was the union minister entrusted with this mission. He appointed V.P. Menon, a Keralite, as the Secretary of the Department of State. Patel and V.P. Menon prepared the instrument of accession. What do you mean by the instrument of accession? According to this, the princely state had to transfer their control over defense, external affairs, and information and communication to the government of India. അപ്പം അതുവരെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്ന നാട്ടുരാജ്യങ്ങളിലെ രാജാക്കന്മാരുടെ ഭരണം അവസാനിപ്പിച്ച് ആ രാജ്യങ്ങൾ അവരുടെ ഭരണം ഇന്ത്യ ഗവൺമെൻറ്റിന് കൈമാറ്റം ചെയ്യണം. Due to the diplomacy of the government and popular protest, majority of the princely states signed the instrument of accession and joined Indian Union. But some states such as Hyderabad, Kashmir and Junagadh not ready to accept the instrument of accession. Through conciliation talks and military operation, finally these states were also integrated to the Indian Union. ഗവൺമെൻറ്റിൻ്റെ നയതന്ത്രങ്ങളിലൂടെയും മിലിറ്ററി ഓപ്പറേഷനിലൂടെയും എല്ലാ നാട്ടുരാജ്യങ്ങളിലെയും ഇന്ത്യ ഗവൺമെൻറ്റിൻ്റേതാക്കി മാറ്റി. ഐ തിങ്ക് ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് ക്ലിയർ. വി നോ ദാറ്റ് ബ്രിട്ടൻ, വിച്ച് ഗേവ് us independence, ended their rule and left our country. But even after our independence, the foreign nations like Portugal and France continued to control some parts of or some regions of India. Look at this table. France under their control, Pondicherry, Karaikal, Mahi and Yanam. Year of accession 1954. Portugal under their control, Goa, Daman and Diu. Year of accession 1961. Due to mass protest, France handed over its territories under their control to India. Territories under the control of Portugal were accessed to India through military operation. 1961, unification of India was completed through reconciliation and military actions. Let us discuss the next topic, Constitution and the first general election. You all know when our Constitution was formed. Yes, 1950, January 26. And India was declared a republic. The Constitution of India is the foundation of our nation making. Our Constitution is a reflection of the visions and dreams that evolved during the freedom movement. These are the general features of the Constitution of India: secularism, socialism, democracy, independent judicial system, independent election commission, rule of law and fundamental rights. Another challenge India was confronted was the formation of a democratic system. The first general election in line with the Constitution was held in 1951 and 52. This free and fair election was a success of Indian democracy. When many Asian and African countries which became free along with India have deviated from democracy, our democratic system still remains strong. Let us continue the next topic, reorganization of states. Okay, what's special about November 1st, 1956? Yes, our state, Kerala, was formed. Do you know the background of the formation of Kerala? A major problem faced by the people of the state was related to language. ഇന്ത്യ ഗവൺമെൻറ് നേരിട്ട അടുത്ത പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട വെല്ലുവിളി എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഭാഷാ അടിസ്ഥാനത്തിലുള്ള സംസ്ഥാന രൂപീകരണമായിരുന്നു. ഇപ്പോൾ ഒരേ ഭാഷ സംസാരിക്കുന്ന ആളുകൾ ഇന്ത്യയുടെ പല ഭാഗങ്ങളിലായിട്ടായിരുന്നു ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട പ്രശ്നം ഒരേ ഭാഷ സംസാരിക്കുന്ന ആളുകൾക്കായി പ്രത്യേക സംസ്ഥാനങ്ങൾ രൂപീകരിക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതായിരുന്നു. There were many princely states with people speaking different languages. So, there were demands from different parts of India for the formation of states on the basis of language. In 1920, the Nagpur section of the Indian National Congress resolved to form its state committees on the basis of language. After independence, people agitated for the formation of states along linguistic lines. Okay, let us discuss in detail. Potti Sriramulu, a freedom fighter, started satyagraha for the formation of Andhra Pradesh for Telugu speaking people. After 58 days of fasting, his martyrdom, and it intensified the mass agitation. After this incident, in 1953, the government of India formed the state of Andhra Pradesh for Telugu speaking people. The government of India formed a commission to reorganize Indian states on the basis of language. The members of this commission: Fasal Ali, Chairman; H.N. Kunsru, K.M. Panikkar, a Keralite as members. As per the recommendation of the commission, the parliament passed the State Reorganization Act in 1956. According to this, 14 states and 6 union territories came into effect in 1956. ആ സമയത്താണ് നമ്മുടെ കേരള സംസ്ഥാനവും രൂപം കൊണ്ടത്. Now, India has 28 states, 8 union territories and National Capital Territory of Delhi. The newly formed union territories have been formed under a Reorganization Act passed by the Parliament on 5th and 6th August 2020. Let us continue with the new topic, progress in economic sector. സാമ്പത്തിക മേഖലയിലെ മുന്നേറ്റങ്ങൾ. സ്വാതന്ത്ര്യത്തിന് ശേഷം ഇന്ത്യയിലുണ്ടായ സാമ്പത്തിക പുരോഗതി. We know how the British economically exploited our country. We have learned how the Indian people fought against the economic exploitation of the British. Let us take a look at some of the projects that were introduced before independence with the aim of improving India's economic progress. National Planning Commission formed in 1938. In 1944, Bombay Project prepared by a group of industrialists. Popular Project developed by M.N. Roy. Industrial Policy Declaration of 1948. അതായത് സ്വാതന്ത്ര്യം കിട്ടുന്നതിന് മുമ്പ് തന്നെ ഇതിനെക്കുറിച്ചുള്ള ഡിസ്കഷൻസ് നടന്നിരുന്നു. Now let us discuss in detail. The economic condition of India was very pathetic. India accepted the mixed economy consisting of the qualities of capitalist and socialist economies. It gave importance to public sector. The first government of India under the leadership of Jawaharlal Nehru planned projects for the economic development of India. All these projects were planned as a result of the discussions of the Congress that took place before independence. Centralized economic planning was the important among them. We borrowed the policy of centralized economic planning from Soviet Union. The Planning Commission was established in 1950 to implement centralized economic planning. On January 1st, 2015, the Planning Commission was renamed as Niti Aayog. The Planning Commission adopted the 5-year plans aiming the economic growth of the nation. The 5-year plans started in 1951 helped India go ahead with the process of development. The 5-year plans implemented for the economic growth of the country have made a significant improvement in the Indian economy. It also helped alleviate poverty, flourish agriculture and industrial sectors, improve education and generate new energy sources. We got assistance from foreign countries for our economic development. With the foreign countries' support, we set up iron and steel industries in various parts of the country. Look at this table. Iron and steel industries, Bhilai, assisting countries, Soviet Union. Bokaro, with the help of Soviet Union. Rourkela, with the help of Germany. Durgapur, with the help of Britain. Dams are the great stars of India's development. Do you know whose words are these? Yes, Jawaharlal Nehru's. Why did Nehru make this comment? Why? Because dams had a significant role in modernizing Indian economy. They were our primary sources for irrigation and electricity. Example, Bakranangal project on the Satluj River in Bilaspur, Himachal Pradesh is the second highest dam in Asia. Bakranangal project, the largest multi-purpose project in the country, is a pride of independent India. Irrigation facilities boosted agriculture production in India. ഇപ്പോൾ ജലസേചന സൗകര്യങ്ങൾക്ക് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് ഡാമുകൾ കൺസ്ട്രക്ട് ചെയ്തത്. ഇപ്പോൾ ജലസേചന സൗകര്യങ്ങൾ കൂടിയപ്പോൾ അതിനനുസരിച്ചുള്ള അഗ്രികൾച്ചർ പ്രൊഡക്ഷനും അതിനനുസരിച്ച് കൂടാനുള്ള ഇടയായി. On 2nd October 1952, marking the birthday of Mahatma Gandhi, the government started 55 projects aiming at better facilities for infrastructure, farming and livestock development. But in 1990s, an explicit deviation occurred in Indian economy. It began to focus on private sector rather than public sector. I hope you have understood the changes and economic development that have taken place since independence of India. Okay, go through the text well, clarify your doubts with me, complete your work on time and study well. See you in the next class. Bye.